Hey, what's up, everybody? In this video, we're going to check out Donald Trump shutting down the Federal Department of Education. You tell me, what other departments in the executive should Donald Trump completely obliterate and fire every single person involved? You tell me, let's go.
I feel like smoking a nigga today. I feel like slapping a nigga today. I feel like slapping a nigga today.
In that statement, it reads, "This level of access for unauthorized individuals is unlawful, unprecedented, and unacceptable. DOJ has no authority to access this information which they explicitly sought in order to block critical payments that millions of Americans rely on. We will be filing a lawsuit to stop this injustice." So there's 13 states that are vowing to file lawsuits. We've got a list of them. Is it just this, or is this just a sign of the times and a growing number of Democrats who are just trying to fight Trump's agenda?
So basically, what you have is you have a group of billionaires coming into the federal government, a group of billionaires that made their billions in the private sector in construction, real estate, entertainment, engineering, everything that Elon does, all the different pies that he has his fingers. And I'm not exactly sure, but these guys made their bucks in the private sector. They are not lifelong politicians that have been sucking the taxpayer teeth for their entire lives, carving millions out of taxpayer money and carving millions in bribes and insider trading and everything that they do. These men, these billionaires that we put into power, cannot be bribed. They can't be bought. And it's very scary for the Democrats because they are all bought and paid for. And now the billionaires that don't need their money or their bribes are in their ledgers looking at their pocketbooks. And this is an example of what the Democrats are acting like with Doge coming in and looking at their efficiency and seeing all their bribery and all their money and all their backdoor deals that they've been doing over the years with foreign aid. You said everything they're doing, all the money they're funneling to themselves and administrations and the Department of Education. Oh, what? The taxpayers want to know what sending $4 billion to miscellaneous means? Listen, just calm down. Okay, look over there.
So, if there's someone to point the finger at, it would be his brother! Oh my God! Oh my God, nobody look! Nobody look! Nobody look! Nobody look! Nobody look! Nobody look!
Yeah, and I think that's what they're going to do. They say the fight is now in the courts because that's where they're going to have to go for every single one of these things that filters out from the executive branch. Remember, too, the executive order that created Doge actually took an entity that already existed, the United States Digital Service Office, and they just retooled it. So those who are supporting Doge say, listen, the underlying legal framework for this entity already existed. The president has repurposed it to this Doge mission. But you do have lawsuits from federal employees, their unions. You've got it now coming apparently from these attorneys general as well. It is going to be a legal all hands on deck battle over all this executive action because, of course, much easier to flood the zone with that than it is to get things done legislatively on the Hill that take a lot more time and in most cases some level of bipartisanship and cooperation.
Shannon, I don't know if you can see this, but let me describe something that's happening live to you right now. There are about a dozen lawmakers, Democrats, attempting to get a meeting with the acting education secretary. This comes as President Trump has said the Department of Education, it might be something where Secretary McMahon, if she's confirmed, would get herself out of a job. And also you had the former Secretary of Education, Betsy DeVos, writing yesterday in the Free Press. She thinks the Department of Education should be eliminated. This is one of those things where they're probably not going to get access to this building, but the Democrats are flummoxed as to how to deal with this, Shannon.
Yeah, Dana, I think you're right. We see them showing up and protesting outside of a number of buildings, or actually, as we saw on Capitol Hill yesterday, I think it was, actually forcing themselves and their way into a meeting that they wanted to be a part of. And I think right now they feel like chaos is the strategy. I think that was the line that was in Playbook maybe this morning, talking about the fact that they know that they're going to be overwhelmed with all of these actions, all the things that they, are trying to get a hold of. They're showing up. We've seen protests. We've seen we're at war. We've seen them say, take this to the streets. it does feel like the Democrats are kind of back on their heels trying to get control of the messaging, much less the substance of all these different things that are happening, Dana.
And I think the one congressman I can make out there is taking the photograph right now. I believe that's Maxwell Frost, and they're talking to a security guard. So let me just turn it back over to Sandra to ask you another question as we watch these Democrats who, I guess it's performative art in a way, Sandra, to try to make a point.
Absolutely. You notice the camera's up, and you're noting Maxwell Frost, the congressman from Florida, in the picture there. Apparently, this is a security guard. But Shannon, obviously, this is just further signs of what is to come. I spoke with Caroline Leavitt, the press secretary, yesterday, and asked her about the president's intentions with the Department of Education. You know, they're not detailing exactly where they're going with this, but there has been a lot of talk about dismantling it altogether or reworking it, but we just don't know. And that uncertainty leads to a lot of this.
You know, everything the Democrats do is performative. Tell me something. Just anyone in the comments, let me know when you're hate watching me. Tell me what have the Democrats done for you personally? What have they done that you can remember? What policies have they enacted that have made the world a better place, have made American life better? Just I don't know. I really struggle to find policy and find things that I can relate to them with because as I've said before, if you ever listen, I'm an unaffiliated party voter. I am not a Republican. I've never been a Republican. I've never been a Democrat. I voted both ways my entire life. Over the last almost 3 decades now, I have voted both ways. The last couple of elections have been full red tickets for me because the Democrats have lost their minds. And then you ask yourself, why would they show up to the Department of Education in their suits and ties? A bunch of Congress people showing up to the Department of Education. They're part of the legislative branch. The Department of Education is a part of the executive, completely under the purview of Donald Trump. So they show up there in a performance. This is all performance because they're mad about this.
Why nominate Linda McMahon to be the Education Department Secretary if you're going to get rid of the Education Department?
Because I told Linda, I hope you do a great job and put yourself out of a job. I want her to put herself out of a job. Education Department. So we're ranked number 40 out of 40 schools, right? We're ranked number 1 in cost per pupil. So we spend more per pupil than any other country in the world, and we're ranked at the bottom of the list. We're ranked very badly. And what I want to do is let the states run schools. I believe strongly in school choice, but in addition to that, I want the states to run schools.
You know, of all the things under the purview of the executive that I would want to see him slash immediately, Department of Education steadily rises to the top. President Trump is rightfully calling for an overhaul of the Department of Education. The department has spent $1 trillion since its creation in 1979. They have, if you can see on this graph here, okay, these are the billions of dollars that we spend versus reading and math scores. That's basically what the graph is. If you can see there, 2020, it steadily increases and then it starts to go down, and the billions have exploded under Biden. 2020 to 2024, Biden has exploded. Then you think, why did they have to spend so much more money? Is there more students? No. Since 2000, there was an increase of 8% of the students, and you see a matching increase of teachers, 8%. But then you look at all these suits and ties, all these people that are showing up at the Department of Education for performative nonsense to pretend they care about your children. What they really care about is their friends and their cushy jobs that sit in offices and don't even interact with the kids. They do ineffectual planning and nonsense that doesn't help anyone. Those statistics are bad. Since 2000, to only increase 8% in students and 8% in teachers, to have 37% more principals and assistant principals and 88% more administrative staff, you know they get paid so much more money than the teachers do, and they don't even interact with the children. This is a joke. These people are showing up for a performance protest so they can pretend they care about your children when all they care about is those jobs in those offices. What did they do with the billions of dollars that we gave them to teach our children and to make our children educated? What did they do with it? They paid themselves to sit in offices and not deal with the kids. That's what they did. So give it back to the states.
It does. And conservatives have been talking about this for a long time, that they feel like states are much better equipped to handle the education system. It's closer to the parents. It's closer to the people that are directly involved, the students as well. So it's one of those agencies that has been targeted by conservatives to say this doesn't need to be this federal behemoth that has all of this money when states and localities and local school districts know much more about what their students need. They are much more accountable to the parents who show up at these meetings, which we've seen the last few years, to demand answers and accountability for their kids. So not surprising that there would be this conversation about taking this away from the federal level and sending it back to local and state. But I think ideally for conservatives, they want it as local as possible. And that means a threat to the federal agency that now exists.
Shannon, let's try to see if we can hear anything going on.
On your own behalf, were you told to come out here and block members of Congress?
They know that we are here. Max, ask the question again. That's the important.
Were you told, are you making this decision to stand in front of this door on your own behalf, on behalf of the Department of Education, or were you told to come out here and block members of Congress from going to the desk?
Doing my job.
So everybody's
What is that?
We're doing our jobs.
We're trying to save your job.
We're doing our jobs.
Show them your ID. Were you told to stand here, or did you decide to stand here and block members of Congress from entering the Department of Education?
To federal buildings.
Use the security
members of Congress.
We're allowed in there.
So a private security contractor
Do you know who members of Congress are?
members of Congress.
We're all members of Congress.
Maybe he doesn't understand. Do you
A private
understand who
security
members of Congress are?
contractor is making the
Insult
decision
of
to
his
block
intelligence
members
from
of
Maxine
Congress
Water.
from access,
Beautiful.
from a public access entrance.
I don't think he knows.
You have the
who-
authority
what
as a
Congress
private
is or
security
what we do.
contractor to block members of Congress. That has been knighted and granted to you.
You have to at least let us go to the desk.
Yeah.
Too many guns out. As many different ways
Oh
as you
my,
want.
look at
Nothing's
that.
going to change.
Who told you to do this? Open the door.
I see your name.
So do you understand who members of Congress
I
are?
got it, yeah.
And you don't
who
care.
are we then?
I got the job.
You don't care.
We have a job to do.
We're not dangerous people. We're not, I don't know, security. There are no thieves and thugs out here. We're members of Congress. We're parents,
She
we're
just described
teachers.
themselves so accurately.
Each of us.
There's our ID, right there.
We were elected to do this.
This is our
I've
job.
never seen one of those.
Our job.
Leave it to Congress to not know their jobs. They're a part of the legislative branch, showing up at the executive branch.
You're
This is
securing
our
this
job.
building
This is
against
we're
who?
supposed to be here. No, you're not.
Members of Congress.
Who are you
The people.
protecting in
Against
this?
members of the people's
So
house
this
who
is the
represent the
beginning of
people.
full transparency of this administration.
That's right.
The administration that talked about they're going to open the doors to all of these things and show the American public what is going on. They won't
Transparency.
even open the door to this building, to
Go to the
members of
visitor
Congress. We are not posing any threat here. No, we are not dangerous people. We have not done anything. We're trying to request a meeting, and they have a private security contractor who on his own is making decisions on behalf of the Department of Education.
So Congressman Hayes, what you're saying is they're not, they allow billionaires and his minions to come in
I don't
to this
know who he
building.
is. I don't know who he is, but I know who I
they
am.
allow-
And I'm a member of Congress with oversight responsibilities trying to request a meeting, and a private security contractor is not allowing me to enter the building.
They allow billionaires to go in this building, but not the people's representatives. They allow billionaires and their cronies to come in, but not, there's a lack of transparency here. Members of Congress, the people's representatives are not allowed in. This is not transparent.
I feel like slapping a nigga today. I feel like slapping a nigga
Oh my God!
today.
Oh my God! Nobody look! Nobody look! Nobody look! Nobody look! Nobody look! Nobody look!
I mean, these people can't tell the truth about anything. We're only here to request a meeting. Dude, yeah, because you show up with 100 people in suits and ties to request a meeting. This is performative trash. It's all the Democrats do. They put on a little performance for you, and you go, "Oh, that makes sense. If they're really fighting for us, let us in. The children need us." Let's hear about the oppression Olympics. She's gonna be like, "We need. There's a single queer, armless pedophile that's been raped in a school, and I'm here to fix it. Let me in." Where have these Democrats been since the year 2000? Where have these Democrats been for the last 5 to 10 years when our education system has not gotten any better? All the billions of dollars that Biden dumped into the education system, and look at our test scores. They're pathetic. So they weren't breaking into this building before to make things better and to make our kids smarter. They're doing it now because they're afraid all their friends and all the administrators are going to lose their jobs. Little cushy federal jobs making 6 figures with cushy federal 401ks. They're afraid that all their friends are going to lose cushy office jobs. They're not there to help your kids.
Not only are they not letting us in, now they've called the Department of Homeland Security. We are members of Congress here to talk with the Department of Education, and they're treating
the kids deserve to have us
Yes,
go in and fight for
absolutely.
them.
This is appalling.
Children of this country deserve that battle.
This is a public institution. This is not Russia.
Let the camera see him. Let the camera see him. This man here. Contractor.
We are members of Congress.
Come in.
They're blocking
I want you to
us.
see this man here, who is a federal employee. He told us.
He's not.
Are you a federal employee?
No.
Huh?
Yes.
No, he said he's a federal employee. We pay him. We raise money to make sure that we have a Department of Education. Everybody that's hired at the Department of Education are here because we pay for them to be here. He's standing here today, blocking the door, and he can't give us a good reason why he's blocking this door.
Make sure they see right here, all access entrance.
Well, and I think it should be clear to parents in the United States, if you want to advocate on behalf of your children, you are not allowed to come into this building where you pay taxes. Parents who have children who are disabled, access is being blocked. You voted for members of Congress to advocate on behalf of your children. Children with disabilities, for young women who have been victims of sexual assault in our classrooms, on our school grounds. Members of OCR are fighting for your children. We are not allowed in the building to talk to them. We are not allowed to advocate on behalf of America's children. America, we have a problem.
Could you imagine all the gay, armless, pedophile rapists that are like, they got to go fix all that stuff, guys, in the schools. State Department, Treasury, Interior, Agriculture, Justice, Labor, Defense, Health and Human Services, Housing and Urban Development, Transportation, Energy, Education, Department of Homeland Security. I believe there was a couple more. Yeah. Veterans Affairs. Those are all in the executive branch. These congresswomen, they were not elected or voted for to do anything with the Department of Education. That is under the purview of the executive, which is Donald Trump. So all the squawking and all the the pageantry of it all, bringing cameras, showing up in suits and ties with 100 of you to say, we're not criminals. Yes, you are. First of all, yes, you are. Second of all, he's made it clear that he plans on dissolving the Department of Education and handing it back to the states. He's already said it multiple times. You're mad about it because your friends are going to lose jobs. All of your higher administrative type people are going to lose jobs, cushy jobs that don't do anything to help our children. You're mad that that's happening, so you want to try to cling on to it at the last minute and try to pretend like Donald Trump doesn't care about the sexually assaulted girl in the class and the disabled kids. What are they talking about? You're at the Department of Education advocating for children's education, and she's bringing up disabled parents of disabled children, parents of a girl that was sexually assaulted in schools. What are you talking about? What in the shit? What the fuck are you talking about? Let us in so we can talk about this. What even are you here to do? To have a meeting? Then have a meeting with the Department of Education person that gets. Are you going to confirm? Are you going to confirm the people that he wants to have in charge? Because maybe we don't even know who the Department of Education leader is at this point. We know who it is. It's Linda, whatever her name is. But ultimately, this is just pageantry. It's a joke. These Democrats don't care about anything except for their pocketbooks, their bank accounts, all their insider trading, all their bribes, and their donors. That's the only thing that they care about. Most of the people that we're here talking are absolute dog shit Congress people, and that's the end of it. Trump responds to them here at the end. They ask him in a presser with whatever, I forget that Japanese guy's name. But yeah, they ask him, and here's his response to them being locked out of the Department of Education, a building that they have no right to be in, or they don't do business there. They're not elected or voted for to be in the Department of Education. That's just not true. It's just incorrect.
In the Department of Education, what did you think when you saw Democratic lawmakers trying to get into the Department of Education earlier today?
Oh, I see the same ones. I see Maxine Waters, a lowlife. I see, all these people. They don't love our country. They don't love our country. We want great education. So they rank 40 countries in education. We're ranked dead last. But The good news is we're number one in one category. You know what that is? Cost per pupil. We spend more per pupil than any other country in the world. You look at Norway, Denmark, Sweden, various countries all up and down, Finland. China does very well in education. And then you look at us. We spend much more money than they do per pupil or any other way. But we spend much more money than they do, and yet we're ranked this year, Biden's last year, congratulations, Joe, we're ranked dead last. So what I want to see is education. Number one, I like choice. We all like choice. But beyond choice, long beyond choice, I want to see it go back to the states where great states that do so well have no debt. They're operated brilliantly. They'll be as good as Norway or Denmark or Sweden or any of the other highly ranked countries. They'll be, you probably have 35 to 38 states will be right at the top. And the rest will come along. They'll have to come along competitively. And by the way, we'll be spending a lot less money. And we'll have great education.
I mean, leave it to a retard in his pajamas in his living room to call the prime minister of Japan, that Japanese guy. How dare I do that? I'm sorry. He deserves a little more respect than that. I will mispronounce his name now. That was Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba. Did I say it right? Probably not. Okay. Anyway, that's who that was. I don't know why he was nodding along, but he's a cute little man. Anyway, Trump responds like how you would expect him to respond. Like, these people are absolute jokes. Like, they are just embarrassing themselves and are not to be taken seriously whatsoever at all. I'll end the video here, but I don't know. You guys tell me in the comments. Do you think what other executive branch should be on the chopping block? I mean, you got to think about it. How many of these executive departments were being run by the previous president, or were they being run by committees of absolute idiots that were lining their own pockets? What do you think? Do you think that everyone that's been in charge of these executive branches over the last 4 years under Biden has been just, doing Joe Biden's bidding, just, keeping status quo, just keeping everything in line? Everything's been perfectly fine, right? Those billions of dollars that exploded under Biden for the education system, that's don't worry about that, okay? Don't look into that. Don't look into it. Don't ask any questions. Don't let Doge look at anything. Don't look at that. Let us keep being millionaires and making a bunch of money and not going to work or like doing a real job or doing anything to make anyone's life any better. Just give us the millions of dollars. Okay, I'll see you guys soon. You guys tell me in the comments what other department should be absolutely destroyed and abolished by Trump. I say all of them. I think he should just clear house. Every person, every bureaucrat that he could possibly, any unelected person that he could fire and get rid of, if they have not shown allegiances to the American First Movement, they should all be axed. Get rid of every single one of them. I don't see a redeeming quality in not a single one of them that's been running this country over the last couple decades. Get rid of every single one of them. Let's start over. Let's do it. I don't even care if bad stuff happens. Let's go. I don't even care. I don't even have fear of the tariffs going back. I don't care. It's a gunslinger. Let's do it. Let's go. I'm here for it.
I feel like slapping a nigga today. Oh, oh, oh. I feel like slapping a nigga today. Oh, oh, oh. I feel like slapping a nigga today. Oh, oh, oh. These motherfuckers on the road, where the hell they learn to drive? Jive turkeys at my job, about to get a cool, cold, mean five. Should've took the day off, might slap my